5 or 6 months ago, I reviewed the OnePlus 5. It was a good mobile phone, and I was hoping that they would improve on some of the shortfalls of that particular mobile, and of course bring it out with the OnePlus 5T, which I have here to unbox and check out today. So a little disappointed to see that they haven't really focused on improving too much on this new model, and it's such a short lifespan of the OnePlus 5 series because it's only 5 months ago and we've already got a new model. So it's got the same chipset in there, Snapdragon 835 with Adreno 540 GPU, 6 or 8 gigabytes of RAM, 64 or 128 gigabytes of storage. So the changes which disappoint me because, well, they didn't add any IP rating to it. They have not added wireless charging. And really the cameras are kind of the same. So we've got a 16 megapixel sensor as the main sensor, then a secondary one which is no longer optical anymore. By the way, none of those sensors has optical image stabilization. They did have optical zoom on the 5, but that's gone now for a low light sensor. So that one's dedicated to apparently helping out with low light. Well, I'll find out soon when I test it out. And also when you do the portrait mode too on that. Now the screen is the major change here. They've gone with the trend now that's quite popular is the 18:9 aspect ratio. So I'm not a big, huge fan of that. I prefer 16:9 and they would just slim the bezels down more. To me would actually be a lot better, but it does kind of look more modern with that screen. It's going to give you slightly slimmer bezels left and right. And the fingerprint reader, of course, can't fit on the front anymore, so they have moved it to the back of the phone there. Now having a look at what we get in the box, the phone comes with a pre-applied screen protector. There's one on the rear just to protect it for transit, so you just remove that anyway. It does come with this case. Now it's not these super high quality cases that you can buy apart from this one, but at least it's good that we do get one in the box. Got the dash charger and the dash charger cable. Now they have to be used in order to get that super fast charging of approximately 1 hour. I think it is 1 hour and 5 minutes or so will fully charge this phone. I mean, it's super quick, really fast. But if you happen to leave this charger at home, then you can't charge it at that full rate. Even using a Qualcomm quick charger, it will take then about 2 hours, so a lot slower. We get a SIM tool. Of course, we're going to need that for the dual nano SIM tray that it has in there, and then a quick start guide. So no changes here with the front-facing camera. It is still 16 megapixels with an f2.0 aperture. You can shoot up to 1080p video with electronic image stabilization. Fingerprint reader, as I mentioned at the start, has now moved to the back. Of course, they had to do that with the longer screen. And then the same kind of camera setup, but it's slightly different because we've got 16 megapixel main camera and then a 20 megapixel secondary camera that only handles low light and then the portrait effect. Now, both of these lenses, they are f1.7 aperture. SIM tray on the right will take 2 nano SIMs, so no changes here either. So you can see our camera still protrudes quite a bit there. And on the left side, we've got the alert slider. Now, I wish more phones had this. It's very handy to go from a general into a silent mode without having to actually turn on the screen and go through your toggles. So it's nice and quick and easy there. The volume button just below that, that's made out of metal. It does not rattle or anything like that. And it's good quality. Both of the buttons on this mobile are excellent. And you can see we do now have kind of rounded edges there on the front glass, which makes it feel nice in hand. Overall, with that, with the curved edges and the rear, it's very comfortable in hand, this mobile. On the bottom, you find a 3.5mm headphone jack. So that's a great choice there. They did not remove that, which thumbs up to OnePlus for keeping this. And then, of course, we have the single one loudspeaker. Again, this is another area of slight disappointment. I was kind of hoping they would have put dual loudspeakers on this mobile, but later on in the video, I will test out the speaker and give you a sample of it. And finally, along the top, we have nothing, so no IR transmitter here. So I'm not going to go through the whole lengthy process of setting this up. It's pretty obvious and straightforward, but what I am going to quickly show you is this right here, which is the face unlock. So Android 7 does have face unlocking, but apparently OnePlus have tweaked this, made it a little bit faster and more secure. So it is part of the setup just to run through this. And of course, I need to get my face within that little blue line there. You can see the outline there, but I'm currently shooting with my camera. Okay, so that process literally took about 5 or 6 seconds, really fast. Now to quickly test and see how fast it is now at unlocking with that face unlock. So that is super quick. I just looked at it, turned my head. And that is almost instantaneous. I don't know how secure this is because I was just quickly testing. And then when I was aiming the camera down, like I do it now, I aim it down. So it's not looking at my face now. And it unlocked, but I think the camera only really caught a glimpse of my nose and my chin. So it still managed to unlock from that. So I'm not too sure how secure it really is. Now, if you're not happy with that security, you can of course use that rear fingerprint reader, which unlocks almost instantaneously. It is super quick fingerprint unlocking on this particular mobile. So I'm going to be using that because I'm not really too sure if the face unlock is that secure. So first impressions of the screen, it does look really nice. Now you can see that the bezels either side, we do have a substantial bezel there. It's not like it is bezel-less. And of course, being an optical AMOLED panel, we are going to see some shifting colors depending on what angle, but I don't know about you, I look at my screen face on, I don't look at it at funny angles, so that's not really going to be an issue for me. What might be an issue is screen burn-in, which hopefully is not going to happen. Now you can see on camera we're getting these funny like lines, that banding effect. That's just on camera. The screen to me looks really, really decent. Very good screen. And if you're not happy with that screen calibration, then of course you can tweak it. If you find it too vibrant, then you can just tone it down or even set your own custom color preference. On the 64GB model that I have here, we've got approximately 51.65 gigabytes free storage. So you really have to buy the model that suits your needs. If you need more storage, then you've got to get, of course, the 128GB model because this does not have micro SD card support. Now there are a few tweaks in here. So gestures, we do have double tap to wake. You can also assign gestures to launch various different applications. So you can draw an O to launch the browser or something like that. You can assign V for the camera. You get the idea. So we'll have a listen now to the loudspeaker on the bottom. So I'm sad to see they didn't include dual loudspeakers, so they could have had a front-facing one like we see with other models. So it's an earpiece and it's also a loudspeaker, but this speaker does sound pretty decent to me. There's some bass in it, so let's have a listen to it now. I'll give you a sample. Now, just for reference, here's the Antutu score here. So very solid as you'd expect for 6GB of RAM and then the Snapdragon 835. Now a quick look at the camera mode. So here you can see we have ×1 and then 2x zoom, but that's only digital zoom. So don't be fooled, it's not optical like the OnePlus 5. Now if we swipe up, that will take us into the video mode. So we get 4K video capture maximum. There is 1080p 60 frames per second. And then swiping down will then take us into the depth effect, which is your bokeh, your blurred background, your portrait mode. So I've taken a few photos now and some video. Let's check out these samples from the OnePlus 5T. Here's a sample now shot in 4K, so we get 10 minutes as our limit on 4K recording, so similar to other mobile phones. The image does crop in quite a bit. That is because it's using electronic image stabilization. Now as you'll see, have a look at this. I'm going to walk towards the town hall here. Look at how steady this is. This is really good. I do like what I'm seeing here with the video quality on the OnePlus 5T. Really great. Now you will sometimes see some jarring, some jerkiness in the video, and that all depends of course on your hand, how quickly you pan around. Some movements, maybe the gyro that it has in there doesn't like. The focus tends to work pretty good. It's continual autofocus with phase detection autofocus. And the audio quality as well I do like. So overall, flagship performance 4K video from the OnePlus 5T here. Sample now from the front-facing camera, so you can shoot up to 1080p, and it does have electronic image stabilization, just like the rear camera, so to smooth things out. Now, it is cropped in quite close. I wish they had opted for a second camera here as well, so we could get like a wide angle or something like that, but overall, quality seems quite good. Now, I'm really struggling here not to drop this mobile phone because my hands are cold, and the back of it is so slippery. It is very, very slippery, this phone, and really, I do recommend using a case on this. Should have brought it out with me because I'm almost about to drop this thing, which I don't want to do. I need to review this first too as well. Okay, so first impressions. Overall, it's a solid phone. It's well made. It's premium. Really good build to it. It has a decent screen on there. It's really nice, but I just feel it's lacking. I mean, there's no reason whatsoever to go for the OnePlus 5T if you own the OnePlus 5. If you're coming from the OnePlus 3 or the OnePlus 3T, then maybe you've got a few reasons when it comes to, for example, the 18:9 aspect ratio screen. If you must have that, then that is perhaps one reason. But I just feel disappointed that they did not add an IP rating. They didn't give us dual loudspeakers. Not the fact that the mono speaker on there is actually quite decent. It's not bad at all. Camera performance looks good. I'm impressed with the stabilization on that 4K video. So that electronic image stabilization is really almost as good or just like the Pixel 2. It looks really, really good. It's almost at times like you're using a gimbal or it's on a stabilizer of sorts or a tripod, but it isn't. So the operating system is probably one of the biggest pros of this. It's really nice and clean. It's super fast. I really do like the performance of it. It charges super fast. There's not a lot to dislike about this phone. It's just that why didn't they give us more? I feel they could have done something else with the camera. They could have maybe put a wide lens on there as the secondary camera. They could have perhaps put even a front-facing wide angle camera on there too. Would have been great. They could have done so much more to entice OnePlus 5 buyers to upgrade. But also every 5 or 6 months having a new phone is quite short. I prefer just to have a lifespan of 1 year. Like other manufacturers, once a year you get the new models. You go from the Samsung Galaxy S8 and then to, of course, next year we're going to have the S9, but not every 6 months. That just seems like a bit of a cash grab there, them having that turnaround so quick of new models. Of course, the OnePlus 5T is now the new model and the 5 is obsolete. They don't even make it anymore. You can't get it anymore, which is quite interesting that they've done that too. So there we go, first impressions. I will be back with my final full review, hopefully in about a week or two. And if anything changes then, well, I will sure to let you know. But so far, a very solid phone, great performance, an all-around good phone, just a little bit lacking compared to other flagships.